question we get a lot is how long does the whole process take to do the visa?
Sure. So the process usually to obtain the documents in the U.S. can take 3 to 4 months, especially the apostilles. The apostille for the FBI, which is considered a federal document, and that is the document that is taking right now the longest. It takes, again, about 4 months to get the documents ready, and then 2 months to get the visa process here. That's why we recommend to begin the process at least 6 months before the moving target date. Okay. Because also the documents are valid for 6 months from the date they're issued. So it's good to begin the process, but not necessarily have all of the documents ordered at that time because they are time sensitive. They're only valid for 6 months from the day they're issued, not from the day that it's a apostille. It is from the day it's issued. And so when we get a client that hire us, we send them a form where we ask them where have they lived, where they got married, if they got married, where in Ecuador are they looking to relocate, when is their moving target day, also if they're shipping a container or not. All of those questions will tell us when and how we need to order the paperwork to make sure they don't expire, but also at the same time to make sure they have it ready in case that they're going to be shipping a container.
What is the cost for the top 3 visas that we get asked? It's like the pensioners, the professional,
and the digital nomad, I believe.
And the digital nomad.
Okay. Well, the government fees just got lower this month in April, the beginning of April, and it went down on the permanent $130. I'm sorry, on the temporary, it got down $130. It used to be $450, and the permanent went down pretty much 50%. Only people that were 65 and older paid $275, which was 50% of the government fees. But now actually $275 is the regular fee, and people over 65 pay 50% of that in government fees. So it got a lot less expensive to do, especially the permanent visa. Now for the temporary, we have a fee that we charge, which is a set fee for all of the visa types pretty much. Our normal fee is $1,550 and basically covers government fee, translations fees. In Ecuador, everything needs to be notarized after they're translated, and it can only be translated here where we present the cases with a certified translator approved by the courthouse, and we have certified people in staff. And like if you're moving to Cuenca, for example, we need to go to Azogues to present the case, which is a city that's about 45 minutes from here. We offer transportation to the city. We, of course, do the process and government fees for the cedula. We assist you to open up a bank account, sign you up for phone service, sign you up for government insurance. Once you have your cedula, again, open up the bank account. All of those fees are included in our $1,550. We don't charge any additional. Now, the apostles, because that's offered through the office in Connecticut, we do charge a fee for each apostille, but then that's optional. Some people might be traveling back and forth or very busy, getting ready for the trip, and they say, we want you to do everything. But when a client wants to do it, then we provide with all of the forms, all of the instructions. That way they know exactly what needs to be done, because in the internet, usually you can find outdated forms. And instead of receiving the paperwork ready, they're going to say, this is not correct. Well, now the fee is different. And then, before you know, you got to do, again, money orders, fill out forms, prepaid labels. Most people say, it costs me about the same to do it myself. Why don't you do it, for me? Or, you should charge a little bit more because it costs me the same. You're not making money there. And our goal when we offer the service for the apostles is not necessarily to make money there. It's to offer the service. But it does cost us less money because when we do it for more than one person. So we're sharing labels and, saving money that way.
Right.
But yes, in the US, time is money, and we can, save that for you, and we do it. And plus, I always say this, we have already made a lot of mistakes, gotten so many documents returned that we know how to do it.
Right.
Okay.
Right. One quick question. Are there certain things that people forget to have done? So let's say someone decides to get a pensioner visa and they think they got everything they need. And then when they get to Ecuador, they realize, oh, you know what? I want to get a driver's license kind of after the fact. Certain services that you provide that people forget that or don't realize that they need until after they've been here or even been here for a few months.
Absolutely. And that's also a big reason why having the office in Connecticut is of a lot of help, because a lot of paperwork and pretty much everything can be ordered either online or send a request. But my clients don't need to go back to the U.S. because we can do everything, at least in the U.S., through the Connecticut office. Same thing in Canada. We have associated with a company that will do the paperwork for us. They send it and we get it legalized here. But anything they need, we can do it. Like we have some people that, for example, order their FBI background check and they come to Ecuador. But then a couple of weeks later, the FBI says, I'm sorry, we couldn't read your fingerprints. Send us a new set of fingerprints with new forms. And so what we do is we do fingerprints here in Cuenca, or we can do them in Manta, Quito, in the main cities. We coordinate to have that done. Clients don't need to go back to do fingerprints again. We do it from here. But of course, when we do it from Ecuador, there's other fees involved. So we charge $70, which is paid to FedEx to overnight fingerprints, in this case to the FBI provider. So then they do it again. And for some people that have worked, for example, they've been a nurse and they have to wash their hands and now they don't have fingerprints. So we got to get denied at least 2 times from the FBI. So then the third time we request a letter from them saying that the person doesn't have fingerprints and that they couldn't read. And that letter needs to be apostillized, and that's accepted here in Ecuador, where we can prove that the FBI has denied that.
Right.
Because they couldn't read.
For the renewal of the temporary visa, will the person have to submit all the same documents if some of the documents are already registered?
Okay. No. For example, if the degree is already registered, we don't need to worry about the degree ever again. But if we're doing a pension visa, when it comes time to renew, we don't necessarily have to show the pension visa apostille, but we do need to show 12 months of bank statements to make sure that the person keeps receiving at least the required income. Now, the answer is if the person didn't leave for 90 days during the first 21 months, they don't need to order a new FBI and a new state police report because we can only use the Ecuadorian police report. But if a person leaves for more than 90 days, it makes them not qualify for a permanent visa, which means that they have to get a temporary visa again, and they will need a new FBI, a new state, a new pension letter, apostille. It's like beginning the process all over again.
Okay.
So quick follow-up question to that. What if you have a situation kind of like ours where we actually were approved our visa in January. So then we sold our home and everything, and we weren't able to actually move until the end of March. So we kind of lost did we lose our 90 days up front, or does the time start when we actually get to Ecuador? I mean, I already know the answer to this, but there's people who may ask this question.
At one point, it was at the time and the visas start running when you enter the country. But no, not anymore. Now the visas start counting from the day they're issued. So yes, you've lost now the ability to apply for a permanent. You will have to get another temporary visa and then make sure you don't leave the country for more than 90 days, so then you qualify for a permanent visa.
If someone is applying for a professional visa, and let's say, for instance, you came to Ecuador on a different visa, but you want to apply for a different temporary residency visa. So you want to apply for a professional visa, and you have your degrees here with you in Ecuador. Would those be good enough to send to you, or does it have to be a new copy, certified copy from the university of your degrees that would have to be sent to Gringo Visas?
Well, usually the documents for the university are valid for about a year. So
Okay.
what's important is that once you obtain the documents, get the degree registration done. That way you don't have to do it ever again. And if you want to apply for a different visa type, you can always apply for a different visa type, although having the support for the professional visa, you won't need to change the visa status because it won't make any sense. At that point,
Right.
you should have your cedula. And by having your cedula, let's say that if you want to invest money in Ecuador, why get the CD investment visa where you can just invest without having to tie the money to your visa? And yet
Right.
you can benefit from the high interest Ecuador pays.
So on that, if let's say you have your degrees here, they're older than a year old, we would need to order new documents from those universities to apply for the professional visa.
Correct. They need to be done in a certain way because we need to follow the requirements and the directions from the Ministry of Education here, which is Tennessee. And so we ask clients that when they're going to work with us, we ask them for a copy of the diploma. So then we will know what to ask for. And we make sure to provide you with a sample letter on what the university needs to sign. Same thing, a sample letter for UNESCO. And we will send you instructions specifically on how the diploma needs to be legalized, what the wording should be in the back of the diploma. So our clients know exactly what needs to be done. Again, because Ecuador here is strict when it comes to that. So when we do it with a client at the same time, we make sure to give them the correct instructions so we don't have to redo it again.
Okay, so I was looking at the government website, and for individual that is disabled 30% or more, it said that they would get a 100% exemption from the cost of the visa. Is that correct?
Yes, but when a person is moving to Ecuador, they don't have what's called an Ecuadorian ID, and they have not gone through the process of obtaining a document that says that. So they don't get any discount. They might get it after when they're ready maybe to apply for a second temporary visa or even a permanent visa, because to obtain that certificate that says that they have this special discount, they need a cedula, and they need to go through the Ecuadorian doctors to certify that, and there's an entity that certifies that. So no, people cannot get the discount if they don't have a cedula. That's a requirement.
Okay, well, I guess to follow up on that question, if someone has because I know you get people who are retired military or have VA disability, what documentation would they need to take to a doctor to use that disability to get that discount?
Yes, so they will need to see the doctors here, but they will also need to bring the paperwork from the U.S., apostille, and then translate it here. And we will have to, a specific and a case by case, the doctor that is appointed by the government here will have to see what else they ask you for. Right. So it's best to get here, get the cedula, and then go through the process because it is definitely on a case by case.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, could you elaborate on the citizenship part for our viewers who want to become a citizen of Ecuador?
Okay. We don't see a lot of people applying for citizenship because the process, it is taking a long time now. But basically, the main reason I believe it is that as a temporary resident and also as a permanent, you have every benefit that an Ecuadorian citizen has. The only thing is that you can't get an Ecuadorian passport. That's why maybe people don't see the necessity. But when you apply for citizenship, you will need to show your birth certificate, FBI background checks, marriage license if you're married, get the marriage license registered, bank statements, rental agreement, proof that you own properties, proof that you don't owe any government fees here. If you do own a property, that you don't owe any taxes. It's a long process, which is taking a long time. So I personally haven't seen many people going through it, and I give a lot of credit for the people that do it, because lately it is a long process. And we've done a few. We have clients that have worked with us on getting their visas, their marriage register, cedulas renewals, and now they have their citizenship.
Right.
Okay.
Sorry. One thing that I wanted to say is that I've seen a lot of people lost their visas because this is not necessarily out there. But the law that passed in February 2022 says that the law says that the dependent won't lose the visa if something happened to the main applicant. God forbid the person passes, then the spouse won't lose the visa. But I have cases where they've actually lost the visa because there is a requirement that says that they had to report to the ministry office, which is the entity that issues the visas, that the spouse actually passed, and they had 30 days to do the process. But if they don't do it within 30 days, they lose their visas.
Right.
So we have some people here that didn't know that they needed to do that, and they've been living here for a long time. But when it comes time to renew the visa, which it ends, the second cedula, or actually renew the cedula, the second cedula is valid for 10 years. And they say, oh, your visa is not valid. It's like, what do you mean your visa is not valid? Well, you needed to do paperwork after you either got divorced or your wife passed or something happened. You had 30 days and you didn't do it. So you got to start the process all over again. That's why my recommendation is that it is still better to do 2 separate visas. That way, you don't have to worry about doing additional paperwork later on.
Maite, what is your most requested visa type?
Between the pension and the professional.
Okay.
Yes, because when you do a pension visa, you don't need to invest money or have your money or your property tied up to a visa. You show that you received the required amount, and that's good. But then the second one is definitely the professional visa, because they know the benefits. And it's a one-time thing that they got to do this, pretty much. And everything else is easy, even if they're going to keep reapplying for temporary visas, because they will only need FBI and state police report and a marriage license if they're married, and then they get a visa again.
Okay.
Plus also the fact that they will be considered professionals in Ecuador. Even some people, as a volunteer, you say, I'm an English teacher. Unless you have the degree registered through Ecuador and through the Ecuadorian Ministry of Education, in Ecuador you're not until you do the process.
Right.
One question that we do get asked quite often, and we can't answer it because it might be different in every state, but people ask, how difficult is it to do this process themselves?
We have some people that have done it. It's easier if you definitely speak the language, because when you go there to ask them, they can explain to you what you need. But if you don't speak the language, I do find it difficult. Even when we work in our office, there's a lot of questions that I don't know the answers. And because I have a team of people that work with me, it's like seven of us that are in the office. We are always asking each other, how do you do when this happens? How do you do when that happens? Do you know this? Do you know that? And by the way, did you know that now they're doing this way? Otherwise, they won't accept it. So if it was only me, I don't think I'd be able to do a visa. I can do it with the help of people that I have, and I know that they're at the ministry office every day, and we ask questions every day. to get answers to make sure we do it the correct way.
Okay. Maite, do you have anything else? I'm going to make sure that your information is in the description of the videos and your contact information. But did you have anything else for us?
No, I thank you so much for having me here. Please feel free to call me anytime. I mean, the clients can call me anytime. They can email me. I'm always available. I usually answer my phone all the time. And if I don't, I call them right back. WhatsApp is the best way. I'm always sending messages, and I'm an open book. I can, answer questions, give instructions, anything you need. I am here to help. And I find, that by helping people answer questions and things like that, they see that it's not so easy sometimes, or if they see that it's easy, I'm very happy for them. I'm pretty much here to help, and my team is also trained to be that way. And yes, we have an office in Cuenca, we have an office in Manta, and of course in Connecticut, in the US, but we help people relocate to Ecuador, everywhere in Ecuador.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for this. We really appreciate you coming on, spending this time with us.
It would definitely be a benefit to our viewers because you really gave a lot of information here.
And it's kind of like straight from the source. And with us, if someone asks us, we're kind of trying to remember or go look it up. And it's just great to have someone who's an expert to help us out. So
Thank you so much for having me here. And again, I'm very happy to answer any questions. And I usually say to people, I'm available 24/7. Just text me, call me, no problem.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much, Maite. And
you're welcome.
Thanks everyone for watching.
Yes. Like, share, and subscribe, please.
Thank you.